Friends, welcome to Holy Trinity Catholic Church, where we believe, belong, and become. Fine dining, high greeting, low seating. Fine dining, high greeting, low seating. The responsorial psalm for this Sunday, 22nd Sunday in Ordinary Time, mentions, O God, in your goodness, you have made a home for the poor. O God, in your goodness, you have made a home for the poor. The three readings for this Sunday highlight this notion of humility. Fine dining, high greeting, and low seating. St. Augustine, Bishop and Doctor of the Church, famously said, in the way of the Lord, we need three virtues. Humility, number one. Number two, humility. And number three, humility. Humility, humility, and humility. The first reading from the book of from the book of Sirach, from the wisdom of Sirach, mentions, my child, conduct your affairs with humility. Humility. When we are humble, we recognize God's generosity. The readings invite us to reflect on a meal that celebrates the community, the attitude that we need to have when we give and when we receive. When we give, we are more generous. When we receive, we become humble. God is throwing a bounteous party, generosity. God's nature is seen in the way that He gives extravagantly, like the rain that comes down from the skies to fill the earth. Every part of it is drenched with water. God's openness is to include all present for the heavenly banquet, even those who cannot repay. Those who cannot repay. No status, possessions, power, accomplishments are a criteria. The only criteria, the requirement is a heart that is open to receive God's generous gifts. That calls for humility. A humble heart. Only those who are humble can receive gifts, God's gifts. And God's gifts are freely given, do not come with a price tag, and no compensation is required. Humility is the prerequisite for receiving the gifts. Without this, we are unable to receive gifts as gifts. This is the kind of humility communicated by Sirach. My child, conduct your affairs with humility. This is the humility possessed by the disadvantaged, the poor in the gospel. As the responsorial psalm says, O God, in your goodness, you have made a home for the poor, the humble, the disadvantaged. It is difficult, mind you, for some of us to sometimes to humble ourselves to receive gifts. We feel the obligation to give back, to return the gift. We find this situation we are locked in, a kind of quid pro quo. This for that. The readings do not encourage selfishness just only to receive without giving. Despite the magnificent accomplishments we have achieved, we are really dependent on the goodness of others. Look at this way. The gift of life, the gift of our vocation, the gift of our parents, everything we have received. We receive life, we receive love, sacraments, forgiveness. We are simply given through God's generosity. Because God is generous. Because God is making his home for the poor. You and me, all of us together. We give as we receive. And in doing so, we expand the circle of our giving. In humility, we receive. In generosity, we give out. Humility to accept the gifts, and generosity to give the gifts. Only those who receive with a humble heart can truly manifest, live the generosity of God. And in this, again, there is always a tendency for quid pro quo, this for that. My friend gave me this, so I feel obligated to give him that. Everything is freely given and humbly received. In the gospel, Jesus notices this. Everybody is fighting for the front row seat at the fine dining. Everybody wants high greeting, but nobody is wanting, desiring low seating. And this is what happens when we invite people who are of the same status, who live in the same neighborhood. But the readings invite us to expand the circle as to see whether we can humbly receive God's gifts and expand generosity to the poor, the disadvantaged, the marginalized. We live within this paradox of receiving and giving, humbly receiving, generously giving, and in this process, we are transformed. We experience conversion. Fine dining, high greeting, low seating. Are we prepared to humbly receive the gifts of God and generously give them out and expand the circle of our giving? Not quid pro quo, not this for that, but like God, in our goodness, can we make a home for the poor? And in this process of humbly receiving and generously giving, you and I are transformed. We experience conversion. Father Praveen Lakisetti here at Holy Trinity Catholic Church in San Antonio, Texas. Thank you and God bless.